competition, with the top two performers in qualification being from the United States of America. The second strongest, Jordan Chiles, will be followed by the top performer, Jade Carey. And the United States of America has a well-earned reputation for producing phenomenal vaulters. Who might challenge them? On 6 occasions, an American woman has been the vault champion of the world. But there are plenty of other contenders. And Lihie Raz has come in as the first reserve in this vault final, as Jessica Gadirova from Great Britain is not competing. Having a look there at the 19-year-old, who was actually born in the United States of America, but represents Israel, has competed at the Olympic Games for them. She was the first ever woman from Israel to win a medal at the European Championships when she won a bronze on floor in 2020. Bronze medalist at the Olympic Games, Yeo Seo-jeong of Korea Republic. Wonderful vaulter from a great vaulting nation and indeed a great vaulting family. Her father, Hong Chul, a silver medalist at the Olympic Games in Atlanta in 1996. Ellie Black of Canada, who led the team to an extraordinary bronze medal. Canada qualifying for the Olympic Games in Paris. She was also 5th in the all-around competition, Ellie Black. And she is a very experienced vaulter, a very experienced everything. There is a great vaulter, and how fabulous it is to see Coline Devillard of France back in a World Championships. Between 2017 and 2021, she missed a lot of competition. But she is a European champion from 2017 and a silver medalist from 2019. So let's just remind ourselves of some of the mechanics of vaulting and exactly what it is we are about to see.
So vault is judged on 3 phases. There's the pre-flight, which is everything that happens before a gymnast's hands touch the table. There's what they call the repulsion phase, where they look at what happens while the gymnast's hands are on the table. Staggered hand placement, bent arms, that kind of thing. And then there's the post or second flight, which is everything that happens after the push-off from the table. The gymnast will be judged on things like deviating from a straight direction, body alignment, how stretched and extended are they piked? Under rotation, and distance from the table will also be taken into account.
We'll be scrutinising the difficulty scores from qualification and looking at where there's real opportunity for some gymnasts to put themselves into contention. You sometimes find in vault finals that a gymnast who's qualified quite high up is fighting something of an uphill battle to actually stay in contention, because there might be a couple of gymnasts lower down who've got a lot more difficulty in store, but perhaps didn't have a secure landing. If they manage to hit those vaults, then the whole thing could change quite dramatically. And then there are occasions when actually it is the very secure gymnast with the slightly lower difficulty who manages to get onto the podium. In terms of degree of difficulty, Jade Carey of the United States of America naturally is the gymnast who leaps out with the most complicated vaulting. We are moments away from beginning this women's vault final. Go. The last moment of calm for all of these gymnasts before it begins. Lihie Raz from Israel, the first reserve and the reigning national champion. Very low landing. Mercifully, she's up quickly and looking okay after that double twisting. Yurchenko didn't quite come down in the right place.
We often talk about block off the table, the push through the shoulders that a gymnast needs in order to really get up into the air and set up a twist in order to make the landing. She has a very weak block on this vault, and as a result, she's quite low and really has to rush the twist.
Even to an experienced vaulter like her, it can happen. She's had enough success at national level to know that that vault is one that she can do in a very accomplished way. She had a great summer, won the all-around and all of the apparatus titles at the Maccabi Games, a very important event for Israeli athletes. And she also has won 2 all-around titles in a row at the national championships. 12.133 for the first vault for Lihie Raz, so she's down by around a mark and a half from qualification. Second vault in qualification had a 4.4 difficulty score, so 0.6 lower.
The second vault, she'll come onto the table in a different way. Very nice full twisting Sukahara, well controlled and well landed too.
What a lovely vault from Lihie Raz. Nice that her unexpected place ultimately as a reserve, we have to remember, in this vault final has ended well.
And this is a really nice moment for gymnastics in Israel as well. She becomes the second consecutive vault finalist in 2 years at the World Championships. Ophir Netzer, a 6th place finish last year in Kitakyushu.
And it was Netzer that she had to step in for at the 2019 World Championships when Raz's performance was so strong it actually earned her a place at the Olympic Games. It has been a good spell for the sport in Israel. And she made her mark on the European Championships when she became the first ever Israeli woman to win a medal at continental level. .599 is the average score for Lihie Raz. 13.066 for the second vault, much more secure. From Saint-Vallier in the southeast of France, but based in Paris, Coline Devillard, the European champion from 2017, an excellent vaulter, and the 3rd strongest in qualification. Much will depend on the cleanliness of this first vault, which is her most challenging.
In a word, this performance is explosive. Handspring front 1.5.
And she's done well with that vault. We haven't seen her a lot internationally of late. She returned at the Paris World Cup, a very special event for the French gymnast to take vault bronze.
She has wonderful height and amplitude on this handspring Rudy. Excellent push through the shoulders. Her heel drive is exceptional as well. And this carries a difficulty score of 5.4. So it is one of the most difficult vaults in this final. Really good body position, extended almost all the way throughout, just slightly piked right before she hits the ground.
.433 in qualification. She was the second reserve for the last vault final at the World Championships. That will do very nicely. 14.5 for her first vault. Up a fraction from the preliminary round. Now to the lesser difficulty vault, but still a complex vault. The second vault, the double twisting Yurchenko, that was the first vault that we saw from Lihie Raz.
Although it has less difficulty associated with it, sometimes for Coline Devillard, this can be the harder vault for her to execute well.
And today she's executed it well. She's executed both well, and she is in the picture early on in this women's vault final, and that will make a lot of people extremely happy. She's a really popular figure in the gymnastics world.
So it was 14.299 her qualification.
You talk about all the things that she's overcome, the injuries, the waiting, and she has come to this World Championship looking and vaulting better than maybe she has in her entire career. It's wonderful to see.
There's no doubt that this will send her into the lead. She is out of bounds as she lands.
Yes, she's slightly offline.
Very impressed with the world coming together to perform on these apparatus for Liverpool.
And once again, slightly piked in body right before she lands.
But it's clearly effective, works well for her.
But overall, a very nice job.
Yeah, c'est cool. C'est fait.
14.166, the second vault, 13.833, and Coline Devillard goes into the lead. So she's down by just over a tenth from qualification, but a good display.
Representative of Republic of Korea. She was third on vault at the Tokyo Olympics.
An absolute specialist on vault, Yeo Seo-jeong. A 20-year-old from the Seoul capital area of Yongbyon-si, and the Olympic bronze medalist from Tokyo. She's also the reigning Asian champion.
And this should be a handspring Rudy as well.
Oh, she's very, very compressed as she lands, and straight back up, and seems not too worse for wear as a result, but there's enormous complexity in that first vault, isn't there?
There is a reason why it carries such a high difficulty score.
He was driving up.
And just like we saw from Lihie Raz, she doesn't have the push through her shoulders to get the height that she needs to complete the twist on time.
Going again for the difficulty.
And yes, the floor comes up quickly.
World Championship potential to medal.
You just worry so much in a situation like that with that sort of angle of landing. And all one hopes for is that the gymnast is firstly okay, and secondly that they're assessed properly after the conclusion of the vault, and that it is safe for them to continue.
She scored an average of 14.249 in qualification. And she has scored 12.666.
12.666, the score for the first vault for Yeo Seo-jeong. Down quite away from the 14.366 she scored in qualification. She was the 4th best overall.
Please welcome for her second vault, Yeo Seo-jeong.
Now to the second vault, which had a higher execution score in qualification, lower difficulty.
Oh, and a beautiful recovery with the double twisting Yurchenko. Good for her.
Incredible vaulting there.
And that was a reminder of the high quality of vaulting that she has demonstrated for so much of her short career. She's still only 20, Yeo Seo-jeong.
After a fall, it's always nice to see a gymnast come out and do just a clean, quality vault like this. Great landing, too.
Yes, what an improvement there, the aerial view of that. Double twisting Yurchenko, locking her feet together. Good form in the air. Very central landing.
This time she does get the appropriate block off of the table, and look at the difference it makes in allowing her the time she needs to complete the twist. Tidy form as well, legs totally together, good extension.
What a remarkable family. Father and daughter, both Olympic medalists on vault. It's an extraordinary legacy. There is your leader, and she will remain so. Much better second vault, 14.033 for a 13.349. Yeo Seo-jeong goes into the silver medal position, and we have one more to go before the second group of competitors warms up.
Bronze medal right here in Liverpool in the team final the other day. And she's
Ellie Black of Canada, part of the team that won Canada's first ever women's bronze, women's medal, I should say. 6th best in qualification.
Her signature vault. Handspring front layout with a full twist.
Isn't that a vault of good quality to get the final underway for Ellie Black, the 27-year-old from Halifax in Nova Scotia?
It's really secure and really consistent. She's done this for years, but I don't know if I've seen her do it better in terms of landing.
The judgment of the angle of landing is spot on, isn't it?
Lovely. And an interesting fact, Ellie Black is the only gymnast in this final whose second vault actually scored better than her first in qualification.
Her list of accomplishments internationally is quite eye-watering, particularly at the Pan American Games and the Commonwealth Games. .2 is the score for that vault, and that's the best vault score she's produced in terms of qualification and final. And now to the second vault. And she's changed, it looks as though, the order around from qualification. A very good vault final from Ellie Black of Canada. Goodness, listen to that reaction for her. Such a popular gymnast worldwide. And if you think she's popular among the fans, you should hear how the gymnasts talk about her, because she's even more popular among them, if that's possible.
This second vault is Asuka Hara with 1.5 twists. Once again, very stable. In the repulsion phase, she did have a slight leg separation. And she's not quite as extended as she might be. A slight bend of the legs in the second flight too. But those are small, small details. Overall, both vaults were excellent.
She certainly has won the argument about difficulty versus execution. She's gone into second place. 14.116. That is very close, just behind Coline Devillard. 14.033 for the second vault. Ellie Black's vaults closer together in score. Devillard's a much higher first vault score. And it makes for a narrow lead. Very narrow lead. 0.05 of a mark. And then there's real daylight between second and third place. And the expectation would be that things will change, because we have got the top 2 qualifiers to come one after t'other in the second half of this women's vault final. Well, it is clear that the United States of America knows how to prepare for a vault competition. But there are some interesting surprises elsewhere. A great surprise was at the Olympic Games last year when Lisa Vaelen stepped up and produced a first vault that turned everybody's heads.
When she debuted her handspring Rudy at the Olympic Games, everybody's jaw just went to the floor because it was so good, and nobody really saw that coming. And the performance that the entire Belgian team gave at the Olympic Games, well, few people saw that coming either.
And while we continue talking about things that few people saw coming, the performance of Japan in the women's team competition and the standout individual for them, it feels almost cruel to pick a standout individual in such a strong team effort, was Miyata Shoko, whose double twisting Yurchenko is absolutely beautiful.
She is one of the few that we've seen in this competition to really stick her vaults, and she did it more than once.
Jordan Chiles, team gold medalist, World Championship debutant, and she just recently picked up a silver medal on vault at the Paris World Cup, where Jade Carey won the title, having won the national championship on vault in August, returning to elite level competition after heading to Oregon State University to begin her undergraduate studies and to enjoy a collegiate career. They might be enjoying hearing their national anthem later on if all goes as the qualification suggests it might. A loyal band of American fans who follow these gymnasts to all of the major competitions. I'm sure there are some folk there that you recognise, having watched World Championships over the years, and how the fans love being back at World Championships after obviously a period of not being able to do that. It was a different sort of World Championships in Kitakyushu last year without visiting spectators. Still a wonderful World Championships, but there's been that return to the community feel of gymnastics this year.
And the gymnasts themselves have remarked on how much it lifts them up to have crowd support. Today, the M&S Bank Arena is full.
And there has been such enthusiasm for the behaviour of the Liverpool crowd from the gymnasts of all nations. Jordan Chiles has such delightful execution on vault. Her difficulty is not enormous by the comparison one might make to others, but her execution is among the finest in the world. Here she goes.
Her technique on this double twisting Yurchenko can be second to none. Beautiful.
Dear, oh dear. I mean, there is how you earn a high execution score. That was delightful. That's an elegant piece of vaulting.
Gosh, where to begin? Just look at how straight her body is, how straight the legs are, completely together, wrapped into a really tight twist. And it's the landing, though, that really gets you. The chest position, straight up and down, and just the smallest of hops. Wonderful work.
How is it possible to perform a double twisting Yurchenko the same way that a rhythmic gymnast performs a pirouette? It's so balletic.
She proves that it's possible. Balletic vaulting, it's a thing.
Clearly it has to be the highest execution score we've seen. The judges know exactly what they're doing. 14.5. A 9.5 execution score. Brilliant. Now to the lesser difficulty vault by 2/10. This was slightly lower in execution in qualification, only by a single tenth.
But just like the first vault, this has capacity to be elegant and airy. Oh!
That is sensational. A masterclass in execution from Jordan Chiles of the United States of America. Two beautifully delivered vaults. Let's look at this again.
Completely different entry, round off, half onto the table. But once again, amplitude, extension, and grace.
She's one of those gymnasts who floats to the ground on vault. It's that sense of control. You know that she is fully aware of where the ground is, and she is bringing herself to the ground. The ground is not meeting her.
And she, too, has benefited enormously from a season competing for the University of California at Los Angeles. In the NCAA, the key thing on vault is the landing. And so it has helped her potentially to be even more precise. And that could make a huge difference in this final.
She surely will go into the lead. She has done. 14.35 for Jordan Chiles. Execution up on both occasions in qualification. Appreciation coming from Coline Devillard, who immediately, in real evidence of the spirit of gymnastics, starts to call out encouragement to the next gymnast competing. Jade Carey of the United States of America, top performer in qualification, and her first vault has 2 extra tenths of difficulty on anything that we will see in this final.
This is a Cheng, round off, half on, 1.5 twist off.
Oh, this is a Cheng. And what a Cheng from Jade Carey of the United States of America. And once again, we are reminded of the continued excellence of the American women at the vaulting table.
The Cheng, named for Cheng Fei of the People's Republic of China, who performed this vault beginning in 2005, if memory serves. For years, she was the only one in the world doing it consistently, and it is still regarded as a remarkably difficult piece of gymnastics.
She has to perform well. She did a very good job there. So powerful, so accomplished. Known for her full tumbling and vaulting. Great stuff.
The leader.
Come on, Jade, one thing at a time. Let's go.
Second place.
When it comes to her execution score on the Cheng, it might not be as high as what we saw from Jordan Chiles on her first vault, that enormous 9.5. But the difficulty.
And there is exactly the point you were making, Blythe. 14.733 for the first vault. And the difficulty cushion used to its fullest.
But the difficulty, oh, the difficulty.
Jade Carey.
And so to her second vault. Lower difficulty vault.
Double twisting Yurchenko.
Oh, the travel on that vault. The distance from the table. And there is no doubt about it. There will be an American woman at the top of the leaderboard, and even Jordan Chiles stands to give that one the applause it deserves. Amplitude abounding in this vault. She has twice taken a silver medal on vault at the World Championships.
Once again, technique that is just second to none. A block that is so high and beautiful. Effortless looking gymnastics.
I mean, that really is one of those barely still in the building sort of vaults. How much power she gets into it.
Just to slow down the rotation and control the landing. Central as well, right in the centre of that landing area. Super second vault.
She didn't have the easiest time of things at all on vault at the Olympic Games. Rebounded to win the floor title, and she may be about to win the World Championship title on vault. She goes into the lead, 14.516. The average score, 14.3 for the second vault. Jade Carey has 0.166 over Jordan Chiles. Coline Devillard is in third position with 2 gymnasts left. And they are the 8th and 7th highest qualifiers respectively. Lisa Vaelen of Belgium has 2 very different vaults. The first is much more difficult. And when she delivers that first vault with that degree of quality, she makes herself a contender.
That was just excellent.
Great start for Lisa. She was fourth on vault at the recent Paris World Cup.
Great approach. Handspring, good block. Plenty of time to get the 1.5 twists around.
5.4 the difficulty value.
Slightly piked in her body alignment. There will be a small deduction for deviating from the stretch salto position. But we can't overstate how complex a vault this is.
The lift off the top, over the hill, blocking from the hands. Lots of strength and conditioning required in the body to be able
And she did that so well.
Shoulders, core strength required.
She is just 18, Lisa Vaelen. Competed at the Olympic Games. And she was 4th at the European Championships on vault.
And she was 8th in qualification, scoring 13.499. And she scores
14.266, that is way up from qualification. Now, what's interesting about her second vault is that she immediately finds herself 6/10 behind Coline Devillard. And therefore the execution of this is absolutely paramount in order to challenge.
She needs a wonderful landing.
It was a good landing. It may not quite be enough for Lisa Vaelen, but undoubtedly the makings of a truly world contending vaulter are there.
And this is great experience as well. Sometimes the victory is not whether you wind up on the podium, but it's just going out there and hitting your routines. That's exactly what she's done.
And the last thing that anyone wants to see in a vaulting competition is a gymnast producing two difficult vaults, one of which they are not fully in control of. It's a step-by-step process. It must be, if coached correctly, a step-by-step process to increase difficulty rather than taking gambles. Our colleague from Dutch television, the experienced Celine van Herne, I asked her, how do you know you're ready to do something in competition? She said, if you wake me up in the middle of the night, I can do it. That's how I know. Otherwise, it should not go out onto the competition floor. It has to be something that I feel I can do every single time. .733 the average for Lisa Vaelen. She's in 5th position and she's getting better and better every time we see her.
Liverpool, this is our final competitor here in this vault final.
To the last gymnast in the vault final. We have learned so far at these World Championships that Miyata Shoko of Japan, the 18-year-old from Kyoto, has a beautiful double twisting Yurchenko. Let's hope we see it now. She really is exciting, isn't she? The vault silver medalist at the Asian Championships and a hugely popular addition to this World Championships lineup at her first time on the big stage.
She is a star in the making, and she's shown that she is able to handle the big occasion. That double twisting Yurchenko is pretty much exactly what she did in the qualification and the team final and the all-around final. We very rarely see a landing like that in elite gymnastics today.
2 rotations.
There are some small things to clean up. She begins her twist during the repulsion phase. That will be a small deduction. And she could be a little bit straighter with her legs during the second flight. But these are small things that she'll go back to the gym and work on.
It will be interesting to see how it compares to the 9.3 execution score from qualification.
Liverpool, just a reminder, please no flash photography. It can be very distracting to our gymnastics. Turn or flash off on the phone or camera.
.066, the execution not quite as strong as qualification for the reasons that my colleague just mentioned. The second vault from Miyata Shoko. And thus concludes such a great debut at World Championship level for Miyata Shoko. We hope that we see so much more of this young gymnast in the future. There is an energy, a vivacity about her gymnastics, but there's also a real technical precision.
What an excellent pair of vaults. The second is the Sukahara with 1.5 twists, and once again, her ability to find the ground and stick the landing is extraordinary.
Successful final for her. Whatever the score, as we wait for the score to come in, should we give all the
And we're going to see her in the balance beam final as well, when she was an extremely good performer. $13.999 the average for Miyata Shoko of Japan. She finishes 5th. Very credible display from the 7th strongest qualifier. But for the first time ever, Jade Carey of the United States of America is the world champion on vault. Jordan Chiles of the United States of America wins the silver medal, and there are tears in the eyes of Coline Devillard and probably many of her supporters, for after all that the French athlete has endured, she has made it onto a world championship podium and taken bronze.
You're good, you're good. Okay.
And it looked as though that her fellow gymnasts were as thrilled to see her on the podium as she was to see herself there. What a nice moment as they are all photographed together, these World Championship finalists on vault. And Jade Carey continues to justify her reputation as one of the great gymnasts in the world today. The classified results in the women's vault competition: the bronze medal to France's Coline Devillard, silver and gold to the United States of America. Jordan